Before I start this video, I've got to tell you something. Be aware and take extra care if you've got a weak stomach. Cause I've got one thing I think that you should never do. Never mix them mushrooms with that old there Syrian Rue. Nah. I'm just playing. But what's going on, everybody? My name is Kenny DeNight, and this is DeNightDimension. For those of you who've never come to my channel before, this little intro is going to be for most of my viewers who've paid attention to content that I've released in the past, and they know that I've taken a little bit of hiatus in the last couple months and really haven't uploaded content or anything like this. This primarily is basically my welcome back video. Is going to be the start of consistent content and consistent live streams, but I do want to follow a little bit with the course of this video, which is an experience that I did have with 4 grams of mushrooms and half a gram of Syrian Rue. Now, for those of you who don't know what Syrian Rue is, a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, which what you guys may have know is pretty much what Banisteriopsis Capi is with ayahuasca, and I'm pretty sure that allows DMT to be able to be ingested orally, because normally it would be breaking down and we wouldn't be able to feel the effects if you just ate DMT regularly. It's been used as an ayahuasca analog and some of the alkaloids, and like I said, the same as Banisteriopsis Capi. So it's interesting that you would want to mix something like this with mushrooms. So basically backstory of how I got it, and I just was gonna do mushrooms, you know. So I went to my guy, got my mushrooms like normal, and he's like, hey, I want you to read this trip report, you know. And this guy who took like 2.5 grams of mushrooms and like a gram of Syrian Rue, and it said it was like so much more intense and like so much more ancient, and it was just like a really extreme experience. And he was like, hey man, if you want to try this, you know, try it out. And I'm like thinking, yeah, whatever, sure. So I'm looking into it and I'm looking at it and stuff like that, and it's saying, you know, be aware because puking, you know, or getting nauseous is pretty known with the Syrian Rue. And so I was just wondering, like, okay, if that's the case, then I'm gonna, he told me to take a gram. He told me to take a gram. He gave me 4 capsules and each of them was 0.5. He's like, just take a gram, see how you feel, you know, with the mushrooms. And I'm like, well, if he told me to take a gram, I'm gonna take 0.5, you know? So I took 0.5, and it said to take 30 minutes beforehand, pretty much to just like get those effects kicking in before you take the mushroom. So I did that 30 minutes beforehand. Took the Syrian Rue, and then 30 minutes later at about 6:50 p.m. I took the mushrooms. And usually I do notice a bit of nausea that happens with the mushroom, but normally it just brings me inside, makes me think internally, and that's about it. It's a moment of nausea and then I kind of get over it. This was in extreme. This was very intense. I'm assuming because of the Syrian Rue on top of it, because I was in here doing my normal thing, doing my regular thing, you know, and right at the peak of the mushrooms, I was gonna smoke and do exactly what I normally do. And I couldn't even get myself to smoking almost, because the nausea was just building and building and building, and it was just so extreme. And it's like, usually, like I said, where for a moment I'll feel it on the mushroom and then it goes away. This was just going and building and building and building. And so I'm like, oh my God, like I can't bear this. Like I'm just gonna smoke. I'm just gonna take a hit of weed real quick and maybe that'll help the nausea. And I took that hit and it just came out of me like a rocket ship, you know. There's really nothing I could do. I could barely get this door open in time, and I just puked out everything out. And obviously that's a bummer, you know, a real big bummer. I mean, I don't know, some people claim that they can puke and still feel some effects, but like all the experiences where I've taken high doses of mushrooms and unfortunately puked as the result of that, the trip kind of just like shuts off, and it's almost just like you're almost there, you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling it, it's about to come, you know, and then boom, nothing, and it's just you know, just alone, and just this just emptiness kind of, it feels like, which it did feel like, you know. After I puked and I came back in and I laid down, I was like, damn, you know, and it was just this real big dark cloud of energy, which I initially was going to go and talk to my girlfriend and just be like, babe, I puked, I'm so mad right now, can you just bring me to go pick up alcohol? Which is freaking funny, you know. It's just like, you just puked, why are you gonna go drink, you know? But that's just something that I was dealing with. And so I was gonna say, you know, can I go get some alcohol? But then I just was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna sit here and sit in the darkness and allow anything to come to happen. You know, I'm still I'm feeling like about a gram worth, or maybe like 1.6 worth or something like that. But it wasn't the 4 gram experience that you would expect. And so I just sat in the darkness, you know, and just faced the darkness and just kind of faced all these dark thoughts and all these dark things, and they eventually went away. And I eventually just kind of sucked it up and went upstairs and went to bed. And, you know, my girlfriend, Lakin, she was kind of like, how was it, babe? And I was like, I freaking, you know, nothing happened really. Like, it was kind of lame. It was bogus. But, so all of that basically to say, like, I don't really understand where this idea comes from, people to just keep pushing things and adding things together. In my opinion, I think the mushroom works perfectly fine. If you don't think that the mushroom works perfectly fine, up the dose. You know, it's really that simple. Like, if you're taking 2 grams and you're like, oh man, I might as well mix it with some Syrian Rue because it's not really doing much at 2 grams. It's like, well, that's what 2 grams feels like. You know, if you want to feel that, take 5 or 6 or 7 grams and then we'll talk. You know, so that's kind of where I'm just at with it. And the little song in the beginning, I hope you guys enjoyed the song. I'm going to start doing that in my videos, making the content more funny and more engaging with other things that I do, especially with the music. Making the comedy songs is a great passion of mine, so going to include that in a lot of the uploads. Besides that, yeah, all in all, I mean, I don't really intend on doing Syrian Rue ever again. I don't really intend on looking at any other analog or any of these other types of things that you can add with the mushroom. I'm just not really interested. I've reached places with the mushroom solely by itself that I don't need it to go any bigger or further than that. You know, I'm not looking for anything. I've kind of found what I've found, and that's it. You know what I mean? I found what works for me, and that's kind of where I end with this video, is that for you guys who are out there and watching this video, you don't need Syrian Rue, you don't need to add, you know, whatever to whatever. It's just the fact that find what works for you and run with it. You know, and figure out what works for you, whether it's not taking anything, whether it's taking a little bit of mushrooms, whether it's microdosing every day, whether it's taking 5 grams every 2 weeks. Every single individual, especially in this journey, is at a different place, and they have a different intention with all of these things. So that's what I would say at the end. You know, don't stress too much about all this other stuff or reading a bunch of trip reports on Reddit. Just kind of trust yourself and learn through your own experience. And so I'll end the video there about that with the Syrian Rue. If you guys are still here, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Thank you guys so much for being around. I really am gonna focus on my YouTube channel and live streaming. This is something that I've kind of let go a little bit, and I've realized how big of an impact it had on my life, and how much energy and momentum and thoughts and just effort and everything that I push towards making videos and being on the live streams and communicating with you guys. And so it's something that I'm definitely working on. Look out for a live stream either tonight or tomorrow morning, based on what you guys comment in the comments. If everybody's like, yo, go live tonight, you know, or somebody might be like, hey, you know, better in the morning. Like, I'll kind of let the comments decide. But besides that, I appreciate you guys. I would say dab on the haters because it's what I always did, but I'm going to work on trying to find myself more, not really this persona that I've built up on YouTube. So besides that, I appreciate you guys. Much love. My name's Kenny DeNight. This was DeNightDimension. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Perfect timing, too. They just started construction outside. All right, peace.